Hi, this is Megan Travis. I'm talking about Module 4 in the KESA accreditation process. After meeting with the principal at my school and looking at the 4 R's, we definitely felt like our strongest one is relationships. Part of that, I think, is that we are an elementary school, so having a relationship with families is a really big deal at this time. Parents really want to be involved. Kind of different thing about our school, our elementary school is one of the largest elementary schools in Kansas. And Mrs. Tinich, my principal, made a great point. Because our building is so large, we almost operate as a mini system of schools within our school. Each grade level has its own pod, so we're really spread out. And we all have our own strengths and probably weaknesses too when it comes to relationships, whether that's relationships with our coworkers in our pod, or the parents that we reach out to. I know, for example, our 3rd grade team at our building is really great about pulling community members in, whereas some other grade levels aren't as strong as that. So we're all different in where we're at with the relationships, but overall, we do think that our building is at the modeling level for this. Mrs. Tinich also made a really great point that it all starts with the relationship. If we weren't strong here, we wouldn't be able to be strong in the other areas. And then the next one, looking at relevance, I agreed with her here that we really feel like our building needs to kind of slow down and do better at the why. We get so focused on teaching what is needed, and sometimes we forget to step back and help our students understand why they're learning what they're learning. So we think we can improve there. We felt like we were at the transitioning level here. Looking at responsive culture, in our district, in our school, we really aren't that diverse. We are diverse in the sense of socioeconomics and our population of special education students, and we do feel like we support and represent those students, but we don't have much exposure to other ethnicities or cultures within our district, so there might be value in pulling in literature or other resources that could help students learn about others. And then just thinking about who has a seat at the table, who's involved in decision making here. We do feel like we really represent all of the teachers. There's decisions made at the elementary school that then carries over to the district level, and I'm sure that happens at the middle schools and high schools too. And we felt like we were also transitioning here at responsive culture. The last one, rigor. Mrs. Tinich really felt like as the year goes on, we improve at this. At the beginning of the year, we're so focused on getting that fall benchmarking done, getting our MTSS support groups going. We kind of power through everything, and once things settle down and we get into our routines, we're a lot better at this. The next question, talking about my principal's leadership style and approach. This one's kind of tricky for me. My principal is new to our district and our building this year. I was fortunate enough to be a part of the interview team last spring, so I did get to know her some prior to this year. What I do know so far is Mrs. Tinich is a really big believer in putting it all into the teachers. She thinks that the more you give them, the more results you'll see. She's actually working on her dissertation right now, and it's about giving it all to the teachers and seeing what impact that has if you support the teachers completely. I'm still not really sure what her leadership style is at this point. I just haven't had enough FaceTime with her or seen her in front of the staff enough to really know. Being on the building leadership team, I do know that she likes to spread out the responsibility. She doesn't want everything coming from her and the assistant principals. She wants us to be able to take things back to our teams and share information, and they don't want it all coming from them. But I think as the year goes on, I'll be able to tell better what her leadership style is. The last question, areas for school improvement. We felt that relationships and relevance and responsive culture were the 2 areas we could improve in. We are in, I think, year 3 of the KESA process, and our district decided to focus on relationships and relevance. But we really feel like, even though that is one of our goals, where we could improve the most at the elementary level is relevance and responsive culture. In regard to responsive culture, I just think that we really need to make sure that all of our students and our staff are equally represented and that their differences are valued as learners and members of our district. Something that I think we could really work on as a district. And then when looking at relevance, I think, again, going back to what I said before, we really need to get better at incorporating the why into our everyday teaching. Students should understand why they're learning something and why it's important. But I really do think there's also value in pulling community members in that tie to our curriculum and giving our students those real world lessons. And going back to the responsive culture, because we need to respect all of the differences and making sure that all of our students and staff members are valued, that pulls in standard 3 from the professional standards for educational learners. That's equity and cultural responsiveness. And then for our relevance, where I think we need to improve at getting better with the why, that pulls in both standard 4, curriculum, instruction, and assessment, and standard 8, meaningful engagement of families and community. So that is all. Thanks.